Hello, I'm Tanner, a natural bodybuilder and a wannabe philosopher. Um, and today we are going to be talking about minimalism because I wanted to talk about it yesterday, and then I decided not to. So we're going to talk about it today. Um, so on my I write these scripts on my lunch break, or scripts. They're not even really scripts. They're talking points, whatever. Um, I tried to look up. I was trying to discover, like, give y'all some facts about who originally thought of minimalism and where it came from, what time period, all that. And every time I looked it up, regardless of how I worded it, even when I put in the philosophy of minimalism, it brought up the artistic movement in the 1960s. Um, so fix your stuff, Google. But what I did find was a discussion thread on Reddit about this guy Diogenes. I was pronouncing it Diogenes, I think, before I looked at the pronunciation. So I never claimed to be smart. But he essentially he was an ancient Greek philosopher who is a he is an example of like incredibly extreme minimalism. He like an ancient Greek philosopher. They're not sure of when he was born, around between 404 and 412 BC, and he died around 322. If that tells y'all any amount how long ago he lived. Um, and so this guy's his major claim to fame. Jeez, I'm sorry, my dog is tweaking. 1 second. Sorry, I didn't want to have to deal with his barking. So I gave him his toy. Um, and his, like I said, or as I was saying, his major claim to fame, besides just being a philosopher in general, is he he literally had nothing. Again, he is a major minimalist. His last possession that he had, his last earthly possession he had, was a cup slash bowl. I've heard both. I've heard both versions, and he threw it away after seeing a child drinking from his hands, and then he proclaimed himself a fool. He saw a child cupping water with his hands and was like, "What do I need a bowl for?" He it was that extreme. It was that extreme of an example of minimalism, of genuinely not having anything or any possessions. And he kind of believed that he didn't need these possessions because in order to achieve uh, in order to attain happiness, sorry, I stumbled there for a second, he believed you needed eternal self-sufficiency. So I feel like that makes a lot of sense with the idea of not having any possessions. He's like, I don't need anything. I have myself. And living virtuously was his kind of other thing that you needed to attain happiness. Um, and this is just an extreme example. Again, if you look around my room, like you look at that shelf right there, look at flag on the wall, posters. You see bullcrap everywhere, and I consider myself somewhat minimalistic. Um, I think it's more of a natural personality trait I have than like a just genuine like hardcore philosophy I believe in or anything like that. Um, so I yeah, it's it is it's not like some major thing to me. But my thing with it is that in my mind, minimalism isn't meant to take away from our lives, but to add to it. And what I simply mean by that is that minimalism to me is not about having as few things as possible just for the sake of having as few things possible. It's about having as few things possible and cherishing what you do have. Cherishing the things that you do possess instead of trying to possess everything ever and not really giving a crap about any of it. The idea of quality over quantity, which is something I've been experiencing a lot with music recently, for example. Um, I don't know if anyone else had this when they were growing up or experienced it, but for some reason, when I was going to school, it was cool to have a million songs in your playlist, right? It's like oh, this guy, he has 1,000 songs on his playlist. He must have good music taste. And then you get a little older and you realize you're like, half of that crap was probably just noise, not even music. It's like, um, and that's what I've been doing a lot recently. I've like been clearing off this noise that I'm just like, this isn't. I don't really like this song. I just on my playlist. I skip it every time. Um, so yeah, having I'd rather have 100 songs that I really love over 500 songs where again half of them are just noise or it's not good music. Um, and I think this idea of having as little as possible will help us learn to value whatever you do have. And sorry, I got a little ahead of myself in my notes. But yeah, whenever you have as few things as possible, you learn to value it, to truly value it. If you take someone who has nothing, then and then, gosh, I'm so sorry. Homeless people, for example, they will often have dog companions. I feel like it's very common to see them with a dog, and if you talk to them, they wouldn't trade that dog for the world, because out of the very little they do have, that dog means the world to them. That dog means everything to them. They truly, truly value it. And this is to me what it means to have as little as possible, but value it. To value it as much as you can. So like I said, I do believe, I think this is where I meant to get my notes before I got ahead of myself. I do believe that we need to learn to value whatever we do have, and then we don't need to have more than needed. Um, it's not bad. It's not bad to have things. Not to me, not in my opinion. It's not just like, oh, I have things, I need to get rid of everything. It's whenever you put such inherent value in all the bull crap you have. I guess I'm getting slightly off topic here, or going in a slightly different direction. Guess I should say. Whenever Because this is more the idea that putting value in all these earthly things that are just going to go away one day. Regardless of what you believe, how you believe, you understand that everything you have, you should understand that everything you have is not forever. So that's when it ties back into the idea of having only what you need and valuing that as much as you can. But even then, as much as you value whatever it is, you understand that it is only temporary, just as everything is. And then I always have to tie it back into the Bible as a man of faith myself. Even if you don't believe, it's fine. um, and the biggest example I think of like minimalism, or the closest thing there is to it in the Bible, even though minimalism in itself is never expressly talked about in the Bible, there are many examples where Jesus tells us not to value our earthly things, which is completely understandable. But the first thing my mind went to, the biggest example, was the time the rich man was like, "Hey Jesus, I want to follow you," and Jesus was like, "Okay, go get rid of all your possessions, you know, get rid of all your belongings, sell it all, and then give that money away to the poor." And the rich man was like, "I can't do that. I really value this stuff I have. Like, it's really important to me." And it's like, that's the problem. You have so much, and yet you probably don't actually value it, but you're still too attached to get rid of it. Um, yeah, that's my personal take on minimalism. I don't think it is meant to subtract from our lives. I don't think it's meant to remove everything and have nothing and live on the streets like Diogenes and not even have a bowl to drink water from. But I do believe it's meant to enhance our lives in the way that we learn to truly value what little we do have, even while understanding that whatever little we do have is temporary. But yeah, that is my thoughts on minimalism. Um, yeah. And so, also, I should put this out there for anyone wondering about the gym vlogs. If you are here from that, if you are here for that, um, I will. I think what I've decided on. I said this yesterday, but I've like officially decided on it now. So I think I'm just gonna bring my stuff with me. I'll bring my mic. I'll bring the tripod. If the gym's empty, I'll record. I'll talk. Or not even like empty, but like very few people. Um, but because it's to record with people in the gym, with more than a few people in the gym, is a major inconvenience to them, major inconvenience to myself, because I'm worried about inconveniencing them, and it just don't work. It don't work. So I think for the time being, until I either find a time I can consistently go where there's very few people there, or um, I upgrade gyms and I have a little more space to myself, I'm just gonna kind of do it whenever I can. Gym vlogs will come out when they come out. I'll There'll be days where we'll have them. There'll be days where we don't, and yeah. So that is it. Um, we'll see if I can make one today. I don't know, but if I do, it's back day. Fun fact. So, oh my gosh, trying to grab my dog to do the outro again. He left. But yeah. Value. You don't need a bunch of stuff. Value what little you do have, and keep in mind it's all temporary anyway. So don't get too upset if it or vanishes, or I don't know. But yeah. Thank you for watching. Oh, also I do want to say, if anyone's watching up until this point, probably not, because I've been rambling. If as far as philosophy stuff goes, if there's anyone y'all are extremely interested in yourselves, any specific person you've done a lot of research on that you really enjoyed their philosophies, any books you've read, or any modern content creators who you think educate very well in philosophy, I would be very interested to look into them if you have suggestions, because I don't really know where to start, I guess, you know. So if you have suggestions, I appreciate them. But yeah. Thank you all. Love you all. Have a blessed day. Peace out.